If you don't know me, my name is Rob Mueller, and I'm Mike's older brother, and I'm extremely honored to be his best man today. Anyone who knows Mike well knows him as an outwardly emotional man who is very much prone to grandiose gestures of sentimentality. In that vein, I want to take a moment to let everyone know how Mike decided to ask me to be his best man. Honestly, it's a day I'll never forget, and a moment that made me truly proud to be Mike's brother. So I was sitting at home one night when I noticed my cell phone buzzing. It only buzzed twice, which told me that I had an incoming text message. When I checked my phone, I was surprised to find a text message from Mike that said, "Want to be best man?" To which I responded, "Okay." Not even the word okay. Okay. Mike then sent me the most beautiful message that said, "Sorry to ask you through a text message, but I just have a ton of stuff going on with this wedding." I'm actually getting misty-eyed just thinking about that day and the heartfelt sentiment that went into those text messages. I'm hoping that this speech will come somewhat close to the same level of sentiment. So,
When call you after that.
there's no interrupting the best man. So, when crafting this best man speech, I figured that my job is twofold. One, to give all of Mike and Steph's wonderful guests tonight some level of unique insight into the groom as I know him as a man, and more importantly as my brother. Two, to articulate my belief that Mike and Stephanie, by committing to the vows we heard earlier, entering into this marriage, have made the right decision. And finally, I know I said twofold, but in order to make it out of here in one piece and without a neck punch, I should probably also lavish praise, cupcakes, candy, and apparently multiple variations of cheese on Steph. Okay. I thought that would get bigger laughs. Nobody's following her Facebook messages, but okay. So in order to fulfill my first obligation, I always find the best way to describe somebody or to provide some unique insight into their character is storytelling. As you can imagine, I have a boatload of stories that I can tell about Mike, and I'm quite sure that he can tell a few about me. However, there is one particular story that sticks out in my mind, and I think it also provides some level of narrative that speaks to the man Mike has become. We grew up in a working-class suburban neighborhood just outside of the city of Buffalo called Carnegie. It was a great neighborhood, and we were lucky enough to grow up in it during a time when it seemed like every third house contained several kids right around our age. We were also incredibly lucky because our playground, which was a short walk from our house, was the home to the town's local Little League baseball, and as a result contained 5 well-maintained ball diamonds. During the summers, my friends and I would spend most of the day on the ball diamonds practicing like we were going to make it into the majors someday. Mike is almost 4 years younger than I, so for several years he would just watch as I left in the morning for the playground with my bat, ball, and mitt. One day Mike confessed to me that he really wanted to play ball with the older kids, my friends, and I told him that he was too young and they would probably embarrass me, so I turned him down and left him at home. Mike persisted with his request over the next few days, so I finally relented, let him borrow one of my old mitts and brought him along to play ball. When we got there, Mike was assigned to play left field, which for most of the day involved picking daisies while the rest of the kids were taking turns at bat and trying to turn double plays in the field. But all of a sudden, the fly ball was hit almost directly to Mike, and in his lame attempt to catch the ball, he actually fell backwards, ass over tea kettle, and obviously was unsuccessful in catching the pop fly. Almost immediately, all of my friends burst out laughing and began to taunt Mike. As you can imagine, Mike was devastated, and as I ran out to left field to talk to him, he had tears in his eyes and was intent on going home and never coming back. I basically told him that would be unacceptable, and instead came up with a plan for him to redeem himself. I told him that I would be taking my turn at bat and that he should stand in the exact spot and just put his glove up in the air. He trusted me at that moment and agreed to my plan. I went back to home plate and hit another pop fly in Mike's direction. He did as I asked, not moving from that exact spot that he was at, holding his glove up in the air, just as I asked, and the ball landed directly in his mitt. Mike looked astonished at his accomplishment as the rest of the kids first looked shocked and then burst into spontaneous cheers. Let me finish. Mike calmly and with an obvious sense of satisfaction threw the ball back to second base. From that day on, Mike was at the playground every day playing ball with the kids who were 4 years older than him with an obvious confidence. I've always been proud of that moment, and it speaks to Mike's continuing resilience as a man. That, my friends, is not a true story. I stole most of it from the movie Sandlot. Okay. No more jokes, I promise. Honestly, as most brothers do, Mike and I fought most of our childhood.
Understatement.
Let's take a moment. Okay. Check that. I basically picked on Mike incessantly for most of our childhood. I'm pretty sure he hated me with a passion for a good part of his life, and rightfully so. All that being said, we have grown into adulthood. As we have grown into adulthood, we have become closer with each year that goes by. He's grown into a man of few words, but enormous integrity and intellect. If you ever need to tell someone a secret and trust that it will go no further, Mike is your man. If you're ever in a pinch that requires someone who is selfless, Mike is your man, as he's always willing to put others' needs in front of his own. I love him more than I can possibly explain, and since he moved here to Connecticut, I miss him on a daily basis more than I'll ever be able to express. As much as I miss him, and I'd love to have him block away, I take solace in the fact that even though he's not home, that he's found Stephanie, the woman he fell in love with, and has now committed his life to. And watching them together over the last year, my solace comes from knowing that even though he's not home, as all of us in Buffalo think of it, that Mike has made a home with Steph where he has a physical, emotional, and intellectual support. There's a big difference between a house and a home, and I'm confident in saying that Mike has found his home. From the outside looking in, it seems to me that Mike and Steph's relationship is strong because of a mutual lighthearted sense of humor. Mike's may be a bit dry and sarcastic, but lighthearted all the same. There's a lot to be said about that and how much a decent sense of humor allows couples to flourish during the good times and rebound from the bad. Additionally, should Mike and Steph have children, I can promise you, based on my observations, that they're even a tenth as committed to raising children as they are to taking care of their dogs, they will be fantastic parents. I actually witnessed my 6'3" brother change his teacup poodle out of her sweater and into her pajamas. It was super manly. So I will quickly meet my great obligation of this speech and let everyone know that Stephanie is the most beautiful, talented, and intelligent young woman that I've ever met, so I'm hoping that no neck punches will be needed. With that, I'd ask that everyone raise their glasses and join me in wishing this man. Thank you. I didn't have a glass. Join me in wishing this magnificent couple a happy, healthy, and fulfilling life together. Cheers.
Good job.